Oh, hello. Welcome to my secret fruit garden. Don't look too closely. I can already hear it in the comments. Are those even real grapes? You want real grapes? Patreon.com/GordonAbe. I hope you've all been having a great brat summer. Collectively, I think we can all say that brat summer has been
a lot.
There's the humanitarian crisis in Israel-Palestine, the attempted unaliving of Donald J. Trump, Joe Biden getting COVID, and of course, the most significant political event of the century, the ongoing cancellation of YouTuber Cody Ko. I've had friends earnestly text me asking, have you heard about the Cody Ko situation? And I'm like, guys, I don't watch Cody Ko. I watch Noel Miller because he's the hot one. But if I can set aside political turmoil for a moment and be a little bit self-absorbed, I have to say that my brat summer has been pretty fun. The highlight for me was starting this YouTube channel. In just 4 videos, we've managed to get to over 1,000 subscribers, and I have to say, it is very validating that you people find the shenanigans on this channel entertaining. But more than that, my videos seem to be producing some unintended side effects. A week after my Electroheart video, in which I alluded to the drifting apart of Marina and Charlie XCX, the two appeared to reconnect on Twitter for the first time in ages. 2 weeks after my video on the Family Jewels, Marina posted Album 6 to her social media accounts, hinting that her next studio album was in the works. And 2 days after my most recent video, in which I made a passing reference to Biden's lackluster re-election campaign, Biden bowed out of the 2024 presidential race and Kamala Harris stepped in as the presumptive nominee. Am I unintentionally impacting the psychic plane with this channel? Now, the skeptics in my audience will say that these are all just coincidences, and maybe so, but some have gone so far as to say that my Electroheart video is literally the reason that Marina and Charlie made up. We may never know if any of this is true, but in the words of Uncle Ben, with great power comes great responsibility, so I might as well use my newfound Wanda Maximoff powers for the greater good. Phil Spencer, listen to me closely. You will announce that a new Banjo-Kazooie game is in the works. A girl can dream, right? That would be the best way to cap off Brat Summer. Now, if you're laying in bed watching this video wondering, what the heck is Brat Summer? Let me explain. Brat Summer is a current popular internet trend, mostly among the girls and the gays, which is a reference to Brat, the latest album from English singer Charlie XCX.
Yeah, 360, when you're in the mirror, do you like what you see? When you're in the mirror, you're just looking at me.
Brat was released earlier this year on June 7th to widespread critical acclaim. Even the snobs at Pitchfork gave it a good review. And the term Brat Summer continues the millennial and/or Gen Z tradition of labeling summer as insert thing summer, with such popular classics as Hot Girl Summer, White Boy Summer, and now Brat Summer. Interestingly, Brat has taken on political undertones since its release. On July 21st, following Joe Biden announcing that he would be endorsing Kamala Harris for president, Charlie XCX took to Twitter writing, "Kamala is Brat." Because of this single tweet from Charlie, I now have a new favorite genre of television, which is news anchors attempting to explain Gen Z humor.
Charlie XCX tweeted last night, "Kamala is Brat."
You're going to see this vibrant chartreuse color everywhere.
It has a color. Chartreuse is the color.
Similar to the devoted fans of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, the K-Hive will sting fast and deep for their queen.
You're just that girl who is a little messy and likes to party and maybe says some dumb things sometimes, end quote.
So it's the idea that we're all kind of Brat and Vice President Harris is Brat? I don't...
Well,
the Kamala is Brat tweet spawned another wave of Brat Summer memes, this time with a Kamala twist, in large part fueled by Stan Twitter.
Yeah, 360, when you're in the mirror, do you like what you see?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I haven't seen young people rally behind a political candidate this hard in a minute, but my favorite bit to come out of Kamala is Brat is a tweet from NBC News on July 23rd, in which they compare and contrast Charlie XCX with Kamala Harris in the form of a Venn diagram.
I love Venn diagrams. I really do. I love Venn diagrams.
This Venn diagram is a work of art. I want to hang it in my apartment. I could write a thesis on it, but for the purposes of this video, I want to drill in on one specific part in the overlap, fruit as metaphor. A coconut and an apple. The coconut is a reference to the classic Kamala Harris line.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
And the apple is a reference to the 11th track from Brat, Apple.
I think the apple's rotten right to the core from
Apple has gone viral over the past few weeks because of a dance created by Kelly Hire on TikTok that everyone and their mother recorded themselves doing. You know how TikTok loves their dances. And this went big. We had Olivia Pope out here dancing to Apple.
I spent the apple down symmetrical lines.
Fruit as metaphor. It's good. And honestly, guys, the stars aligned to telegraph this video better than I ever could have on my own. Because today, we're going to be talking about the ultimate example of fruit as metaphor, the third studio album from Marina and the Diamonds, Fruit. Or as a friend of mine pronounced it when I showed him the album cover, FROOT. Love that. However, this video will differ from my previous videos on Marina. Yes, we will discuss the album, the build-up, the visuals, the release material, the scrap material, all that jazz. But beyond the music, let us remember a wise parable from one Kamala Harris.
You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
Bearing these wise words in mind, let us place Fruit within the context. A year after Fruit's release, there was a very public online spat between Marina Diamandi and Charli XCX over Charli's perceived copying of Marina's photo shoots, resulting in an 8-year feud that only recently seems to have been put to bed. It would be incomplete for me to talk about Fruit without talking about this. To fully explore Fruit and its legacy, we have to ask some deeper questions. What exactly constitutes artistic property? Where do we draw the line between inspiration and imitation? And most importantly, in hypothetical Judge Judy Popstar Court, which one of these two hookers should go to jail? So sit back, crack open a Diet Coke, and let's take a bite out of this apple. Part 1. Planting seeds. I had to remove my sweater because I am sweating my butt off. I just have like a roll of paper towels that I'm keeping here to continually dab.
Brat Summer? Yeah, you're in the heat of it.
I'm a very sweaty person. After working with some of the most prolific producers on her second album, Circuit, Diplo, Greg Kurstin, you might expect the massive success of Electra Heart to result in a proportionate amount of self-imposed pressure. But rather than producing a safe album with the same set of hitmakers, Marina had a different vision for her follow-up.
After your previous album, you said you immediately knew what you wanted for the next one. How come?
Because I think with Electra Heart I had figured out what I did actually want to do, what music I did want to create and how I wanted to create it, because it was such an intensive experience for me. I kind of needed a breather and I wanted to write on my own again. I was really, really hungry for that.
Marina wrote her third album entirely by herself, something that is very unusual in the world of pop, and personally, I find it admirable. Songwriting is an underappreciated skill in the music industry. This feels especially topical right now, considering all of the discourse surrounding Katy Perry's latest single, Woman's World. Let's dissect the prose. Sexy, confident, so intelligent, she is heaven sent, so soft, so strong. Wait, isn't that last part just the tagline for Charmin? Comment below if you think we should cover Katy Perry on this channel. Marty, I'm scared. Let's talk about the lead up to Fruit. Marina announced the album title and track list in November of 2014, alongside her release strategy, which she dubbed Fruit of the Month. The idea was that each month, up until the album's release in April of 2015, a new track would be released, for a total of 6 pre-release tracks, meaning half of the album would be in the hands of fans prior to the album's launch. Additionally, each of these 6 tracks would correspond with a fruit from the rainbow assortment being used in the album's visuals: a cherry, orange, lemon, apple, blueberry, or grape. This is so fun to me and instantly feels like a callback to the archetypes from Electra Heart. And the similarities don't stop there, because a Tumblr blog was stood up alongside Fruit's launch, just like Electra Heart, dubbed Planet Fruit. Marina would post and reblog themed imagery around the time each track dropped as additional promotion for these releases, which also helped to give each song a distinctive visual element. You can really tell that Marina loves the visual side of putting an album together when you see the care that she puts into the promotion. Also, I just want to point out that the Fruit of the Month tracks released on 11/11, 12/12, 1/1, 2/2, 3/3, and 4/4. I don't know if there's a word for whatever this is. I'm just calling it out because it's oddly satisfying. And the lead single for this album was the title track, Fruit. You might recall that previous title tracks, The Family Jewels and Electra Heart, were included as bonus tracks or left off of their respective albums entirely. So not only is this the first time that a title track has been a single, it's also the first time that a title track has made the standard cut. And what's this? A song longer than 5 minutes? You know, we used to talk about how pop music had to follow a very specific formula in order to be considered radio friendly. Structurally, we're talking about verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, bridge, and chorus. And time-wise, as long as you were under 4 minutes, you were golden. Well, in 2024, forget radio friendly. If you want a hit, your song has to be TikTok friendly, and all you've got is verse, chorus, hurry it up, get out of my studio. If you dare put a bridge in your song today, you'll be shot on sight by A.G. Cook. Don't get me wrong, I like current pop music, but I also want variety. It is a breath of fresh air to rewind to a time where artists weren't terrified of making long, thick, girthy songs. Take your time, I want to melt into the music. And with Fruit, we've got long verses, multiple pre-choruses, a banger of a chorus, and an actual bridge. It's got that signature Marina kookiness that we've come to expect, but it's also very sultry. As an introduction to a new era, Fruit knocks it out of the park. Lyrically, the song is... It's about sex, right? I mean, Marina says that it's not. In an interview with the line of Best Fit, she says, I think a lot of people assume it's about sex, but it's not, strictly. Most of it is not. It's really about being ready for happiness and being ready to love somebody and being fully realized as a person. Well, okay, if you say so. Let me be clearer with my words. The song isn't about sex. It's not sexy, but it is sensual. The best way I can put it is that the song feels like desire distilled. The first and second pre-chorus demonstrate this the best, I think. In pre-chorus 1, she sings, and in pre-chorus 2, do I need to elaborate? It's so good. Melodically, phonetically, thematically. It reminds me of Sade's ability to sing about love and sexuality on tracks like The Sweetest Taboo or Never As Good As the First Time, in a way that's not vulgar, but deeply intimate and personal. I will go out on a limb here and say that Fruit is the best track that Marina has ever made. Need I remind you that this was written by one person? Take notes, Katy Perry. As for the music video, we've got this 70s Technicolor filter, excellent use of light and shadow, and hold on, why does this dance sequence from 2014 look like it would go viral on TikTok today? Also, I'm gonna have to be heterosexual for a moment here because the way Marina looks in this video has got me feeling like Adam Levine in those leaked Instagram messages. Holy fork. Holy forking fork. That body of yours is absurd. Okay, we can't sit here talking about Fruit all day. There are 11 other songs on this album. After Fruit, we get our second single, Happy. It's a stripped down ballad, and in that regard, it's kind of a 180 from Fruit. Lyrically, Happy is about self-actualization and triumph over adversity. I think this segment from the previously mentioned The Line of Best Fit interview gives us great insight into the frame of mind Marina was in when writing the album, and this song in particular. I felt like I hadn't changed between 18 and 27, which is a really long forking time to not grow up or not deal with certain issues. I feel lighter now. I feel very different. The weirdest thing was that it was almost overnight. I'm 29 and I've not experienced this in my life before. I think it was something that I was looking for. The previous years where I was projecting cynicism or when I was being snarky or whatever, I was myself all the time. It was almost like I had been burdened by something my whole life and then suddenly that went away.
Unburdened by what has been.
Quick sidebar, I want to give a big shout out to Lawrence Day, who was the writer on this piece. This is a great article. When I looked at his profile, it seemed like he hadn't written anything since 2020. So if you're out there, Lawrence, I hope you're doing okay. Link in the description for the full interview. I love Happy. I think it's one of her best ballads. And I'm not just saying that because she wrote it about me. No, I'm serious. She wrote it for me. You don't believe me? You haven't been listening to the lyrics.
Couldn't relax, couldn't sit back.
It's so touching to know that I impacted Marina in this way. The third single we get is Immortal at the start of 2015. We'll come back to that. I can't do it right now. Suffice to say, I was not a fan of this song when it came out. Although in hindsight, the single cover is iconic because... reasons. Let's move on to our fourth song, I'm a Ruin. I will admit that when I first heard it, I was not a fan of this one either. However, in retrospect, I like the song, and I think I know why that's changed for me. The song is about a breakup, but Marina pulls a switcheroo on us because it's from the dumper's perspective. Most songs about heartbreak are written from the dumpee's perspective. Seriously, think about it. Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Bob Thornton, Good Luck Babe by Ronan Chappelle, and I Will Survive by Gloria Steinem. For most of my life, and in all of my relationships up until then, if you can even call them relationships, I have been the dumpy. I think I'm a Ruin didn't resonate with me when it was released, because I just couldn't relate to being the heartbreaker, until I was one. As for the music video, it's fine. Not my favorite, but I do like her eye makeup, and the location kind of looks like Svartalheim from Thor the Dark World, so that's cute. At this point in the album rollout, we hit a major complication. I'm a Ruin was released on February 2nd, and on February 11th, the album leaked in full, 2 months before its intended release. And that leak came to the attention of Marina because she took to Twitter writing a string of tweets. There will always be cheap people around. As long as you're not hanging out with them, who cares? We're on this fruit journey together, and regardless of today's events, nothing's going to stop it. I am going my own way. MGTOW Queen. One thing I'd like to ask you for, if you choose to listen and you really like it, please support me by pre-ordering the album. I've written the whole record myself. I'm incredibly proud of it. It's an important record for me. I can only hope to react with this much grace and dignity if I am ever in a situation where I have my work stolen from me. It's scary. Maybe that's hard to understand because in recent years, the impact of leaked music is not as damaging to an artist's reputation as it once was. Nowadays, some record labels even leak material in order to drum up promotion. By the way, that's cringe and you should stop it. We can smell inauthenticity a mile away. But leaks being less harmful is a recent phenomenon. In 2015, I'm sure her label was frantic over the potential of lost album sales. Nevertheless, Marina continued her Fruit of the Month campaign. The following month, we got the 5th single, Forget. This song pulled me back in after my initial distaste for I'm a Ruin, and the music video is great too. There's an understated but effective technique where the camera rotates around a stage, and Marina is on both sides with different looks. One in all black and one in all white. Wait, why does she kind of look like Charlie XCX here? That fruit looks familiar. I have to mention her pronunciation of the word tortoise because fans still tease her about this today.
When I was born to be the tortoise.
Toys. Apparently Marina's own team found this funny too. From an interview with Spin magazine, one of my favorite lines on the album is on Forget when you sing, I was born to be the tortoise, I was born to walk alone. I love the way you pronounce tortoise. Did you ever ask yourself, why did I pronounce it like toys? No, but my A&R always jokes and sends me the tortoise emoji all the time, as they should. Alongside the release of Forget, Marina revealed that in response to the leaks, fans would be getting Fruit early. Part 2. Okay, I've gone and switched my shirt again. The old one was cotton. I mean, I guess in the context of this being my secret fruit garden, it kind of makes sense that it's so hot. Don't pineapples have to grow in like 200-degree weather? I don't know, I'm not gonna Google it. Fruit was released on March 16th, 2015, about 3 weeks prior to its initial intended release date. While it's difficult to tell how the leak may or may not have impacted album sales, it still did really well. Fruit landed at number 10 on the UK album charts and at number 8 on the US album charts. And I hope Marina saw a hefty percentage of album sales because in an interview with Noor Tagore, she says this.
I'd written the whole record, I'd like almost produced all of it, and basically my label wouldn't give me the budget for mixing it. They just sat on it for like 4 months. And I had no fear that it wasn't gonna be released or anything like that, but I was so frustrated and so ready to go. I was like, fine, I'll pay for it. And I paid for my photo shoots. Do you remember the Fruit ones with like the peaches and...
Yes,
it's like one of my best photo shoots.
You paid for that?
Yeah. I was like, I'm not sitting here waiting for you guys to like believe in me. So we did the photo shoot and then we sent them the photos and they were like, oh, she knows what she's doing.
I'm suddenly reminded about my first video where we talked about Bonnie McKee and how she had to pay for her own tour with Carmen. Isn't the entire purpose of a major record label to, you know, fund an artist so they can make more music? Very weird. This is another great interview with Marina, so I will also link it in the comments. It's a nice counterbalance to this article from the very unserious journalists at BuzzFeed, with such hard-hitting questions as, what song on your album best represents a banana? A banana? I love these questions. Happy for some reason. Maybe because it was a yellow song. What's your favorite fruit emoji? Ooh, banana. What's more phallic to you, an eggplant or a banana? A banana! Fuck! Every answer's banana! After Fruit's release, we got 2 additional singles. Firstly, Gold, the final fruit of the month. This is my second favorite song on the album, and it honestly upsets me that it was kind of overshadowed by the album's early release. I think Marina and her label made the right call by releasing Fruit early, but man, I really wish that Gold had gotten its heyday. And we did get one single completely separate from Fruit of the Month, Blue. This was an obvious choice for a single, so I'm glad she picked it. The music video for Blue is my favorite of the bunch. We're in an amusement park, there's lots of dynamic shots, and superb use of color. It was directed by Charlotte Rutherford, which actually makes a lot of sense considering she's the same photographer responsible for the album visuals. I love the little details like Marina sitting in a seat that says, biggest person sit here. Feels like a callback to Prima Donna where Marina jokes about having a big ego. Oh, and this fortune teller shot is gorgeous. Great video through and through. Wait a minute, why does this feel like another TikTok dance at the end? What is happening? Now, I'm not going to do a track-by-track review. Unless, is that what you guys want? But I do have a few musings to share. Firstly, my top 3 tracks. Something that I wish I had done for the Electra Heart and Family Jewels videos. Fruit is at the top, obviously, followed by Gold, and my third favorite is Solitaire. I love Solitaire. Not as much as I love Canasta, though. It's sad, yet pretty, and it makes me feel like I'm in that Ice Caverns room where you get the iron boots in Ocarina of Time. I will not elaborate. Now, I have been very generous with the album up until this point, but it's not all sunshine and roses. Keep in mind, this is all my opinion, we all have opinions, and there are 2 tracks on this album that I really do not care for. Firstly, Savages. I get what Marina was going for here, I understand the concept, and melody-wise, it's catchy. But the lyrics do give me, as the kids say, the ick. Underneath it all, we're just savages, hidden behind shirts, ties, and marriages. How could we expect anything at all? We're just animals still learning how to crawl. I just don't like the word savages. It makes me think of cultural assimilation. It makes me think of racism against indigenous people. One of my closest friends, and also a part-time schmoopy, is Swampy Cree. And although I joke with him about how Humba Wumba from Banjo-Tooie is an indigenous icon, I do in fact realize that she is a racially insensitive caricature of native people created by the British, aka colonizers. We're never gonna get Banjo-Tooie on Nintendo Switch Online, are we? Can't we just do the Disney thing where we add a disclaimer at the start of the game saying, this was made at a time where blah blah blah. To be clear, because I know somebody in the comments is going to misconstrue what I'm saying, I am not accusing anybody of racism. This is not an indictment against Marina or any fans who like this song. This is a me problem. I just recognize that, at least in the United States, there is a long-standing tradition of wielding the word savage against native people as a term of disparagement. And I personally find it difficult to separate that history from the word. So it's not for me. And then there's Immortal. I told you we'd come back to her. Fair warning, this is gonna get a little mean, and I'm worried because a lot of fans like Immortal. So if you're in that bucket, just cover your ears. I want to start off by saying that I really like the idea of this song. Singing about this endeavor to leave a long-lasting impression on history is a pretty common feeling among creative types. It's ambitious to sing about something so philosophical, and I want to give her credit for taking a risk. And the home movie footage we see in the music video illustrates the point well, but I think it might have been too ambitious of a concept for her third album. The first verse in Immortal genuinely makes me squirm. I want to be immortal, like a god in the sky. I want to be a silk flower, like I'm never gonna die. I want to live forever in your heart, and we'll always be together, from the end to the start. It feels like if I prompted ChatGPT, write me a really deep song about immortality in the voice of Marina. I just can't vibe with these lyrics. But I'll at least say that once I can get past that first verse, the song improves a bit. And like I said, even though I'm not a fan, I can appreciate a big creative swing. I think the other reason I don't like this song is that the concept really doesn't resonate with me.
I wanna be immortal.
I don't want to be immortal. In fact, the sooner I'm forgotten, the better. As for the songs not included on the album, we've got 3. Technically 4. True Colors, When You Take Away Control, Savior, and I'm Not Hungry Anymore. The first one is a cover of the Cyndi Lauper song, and it's a great cover. The second one doesn't really count because we only have a 10-second snippet, so who even knows if this ended up being finalized. As for Savior, I really like this one, but I'm Not Hungry Anymore? This is the white whale of Marina's unreleased material. Fans have been begging her to release this one for years. She first teased it on Instagram when she was working on the album, but it was scrapped in the end because Marina felt that she and Costin couldn't get the production just right. She's played it live a couple of times despite not releasing it, and the fans go nutty.
It's a song called I'm Not Hungry Anymore. Okay, do you think you know some of the lyrics? I'm not hungry anymore. I'm not hungry anymore.
I hope she releases it one day. But if not, at least we have the demo. Final thoughts on the album. I loved the whole Fruit of the Month thing, but I will say it wasn't quite as effective as the archetypes. Once the album dropped, the other 6 songs were retroactively associated with fruits as well, leading to 2 songs per fruit. There just aren't enough songs per fruit to flesh this out fully as a theme. Also, some of these pairings just make no sense. Like, okay, some do, like Happy being a lemon. I think I get it. Yellow is a bright, happy color, but lemons are sour, and Happy is about coming out of depression and embracing life, so you could call it it bittersweet. As for weeds being associated with an apple, I guess it's because they're both green? But can anybody watching seriously tell me what immortality has to do with blueberries? I guess my last thought on Fruit is that I hope she considers a repackage. Next year will be the 10-year anniversary of Fruit, and she's talked about a potential repackage in the past, so this could be the perfect time. It might be a bit much, but I would be open to her doubling the track list, if only for the purpose of fleshing out the different fruits a bit more. I know she's got the unreleased material to do it. And you know what? Why stop there? Give us more fruit. Where's the pineapple? Where's the strawberry? And fans really would like an officially released version of I'm Not Hungry Anymore. And I guess that's it. Or is it? Because this video isn't even about Marina. This video isn't about Fruit. This video is about habitual copycat Charlie XCX. Just kidding. How was my H-Bomber guy impression though? Part 3. Bad Apples. Charlotte M. Aitchison, also known by her stage name Charlie XCX, better known in the military as Charlie X-Ray, is an English singer-songwriter. From 2012 to maybe 2014-ish, Charlie and Marina were widely considered by fans as operating in the same sort of alternative pop subculture, to the point where if someone was a Charlie fan, you could assume with 90% certainty that they were also a Marina fan. And they seemed like good friends. They'd interact regularly on social media, they'd post photos of the two of them hanging out together, and in 2013, they collaborated on a song together called Just Desserts. A little bit of Marina lore for you. Just Desserts was originally called The Other Foot, and it was written for a rapper, but that collaboration never came to fruition. Get it? Fruition of fruits in the name. Anyway, so Charlie and Marina reworked the song as a duet. The lyrics tell a story of getting your heart broken by someone, only to watch your heartbreaker get a taste of their own medicine. It's a good song. It's also the only song from this time frame that didn't get added to the Electra Heart 10-year reissue. I wonder why. On March 11th, 2016, nearly 1 year after the release of Fruit, Charlotte Rutherford posted to Instagram a still from a photo shoot with Charlie XCX for a fragrance called Why Not, as part of a collaboration with UK-based fragrance company Impulse. When the post was made, many fans noticed similarities between Charlie's photo shoot and Marina's Fruit photo shoots, particularly with the single artwork for Immortal. In fact, Marina herself noticed these similarities, replying to the photo with, "That fruit looks familiar." The photo was then deleted, and Marina took to Twitter, writing, "Imagery is artistic property. Please respect your fellow artists." To which Charlie replied, "I'm guessing this is aimed at me. If so, response posted here. Sending positive vibes." This Instagram post is long, and this video is already way too long, but I will read you my favorite part of it. As I've said, the image in question, which I believe Marina had previously commented on the photographer's Instagram, was for a brand-based photo shoot for a tropical lemon-scented fragrance campaign. What was I supposed to do? Shoot it in the snow? The phrase, "that fruit looks familiar," has since become a niche internet meme. It's used in situations where an image, video, or the like appears to be similar to another one. Usually it's meant in a tongue-in-cheek sort of way, although sometimes there's an implication that there was a knowing intent to rip somebody off. And while today this all seems harmless and kind of funny, at the time this was huge. As I said previously, there was a large overlap between Marina's and Charlie's respective fan bases. When this familiar fruit drama erupted, there was a schism that formed between the fan bases. A statement which reeks of petty high school drama, but considering that we were all in high school at the time that this happened, it's pretty fitting. Hindsight is 2020. So what's the verdict here? Did Charlie rip Marina off? Well, I think it's pretty hard to ignore the obvious resemblance between these two photos. The purple outfit, the foliage in the background, some pink accent lighting, fruit as metaphor, and Charlie herself admitted that the image looks similar in her Instagram response. But at the same time, these images aren't identical by any means, so what are we really saying here? Did Marina invent the color purple? Did she invent fresh fruit?
Well, yes.
Rehashing this whole debacle made me wonder. Has anyone ever successfully sued on the grounds that their imagery was stolen? Well, let's look at the United States case of Rogers v. Koons. I'll give you the short version. A photographer named Art Rogers brought a case against Jeff Koons on the grounds that his sculpture, String of Puppies, had infringed on the copyright of a photo taken by Rogers titled Puppies. In court, however, Koons argued that his use of Rogers' material was protected under fair use, specifically because it fell under parody. Now, before I reveal the results of this case, I want to pose the question to you. Look at these two photos. Do you think this is copyright infringement? Think about it for a minute.
Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock.
Maybe you want to know about the intent of the artist. Did Jeff Koons know what he was doing? Well, let's look at the court documents. Coons acknowledges that the source for String of Puppies was a museum graphics note card of puppies which he purchased in a very commercial tourist-like card shop in 1987. After buying the card, he tore off that portion showing Rogers' copyright of puppies. Coons gave his artisans one of Rogers' note cards and told them to copy it, but in order to guide the creation of a three-dimensional sculptural piece from the two-dimensional photograph, Coons communicated extensively with the Demet studio. He visited it once a week during the period the piece was being carved by the workers and gave them written instructions. In his production notes, Coons stressed that he wanted puppies copied faithfully in the sculpture. For example, he told his artisans the work must be just like photo. Features of photo must be captured. Later, puppies need detail and fur. Details, just like photo. Other notes instruct the artisans to keep man an angle of photo, mildly to side and mildly forward. Same for woman. To keep woman's big smile, and to keep the sculpture very, very realistic. Others state, girl's nose is too small. Please make larger as per photo. That's kind of a drag. Okay, so Coons knew that the photo was copyrighted and specifically used it to create his sculpture in extremely precise detail. Noted. But still, these are entirely different mediums, right? Sculpture versus photography. This could theoretically qualify as transformative and therefore be protected. You might argue that it's fair use for that reason. Would it change your mind if you knew that Coons made money for this? Because according to an article from the New York Times, Coons sold 3 copies of this sculpture for a combined $367,000. The monetary aspect does play some role in fair use considerations. This is something I've become more aware of as I've stepped into YouTube because I make content about music, which is obviously copyrighted. But the monetary aspect isn't the end-all be-all to fair use. Per Title 17 in the United States Code, one element to be considered when determining fair use is, quote, the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. In other words, does the thing that you made mean that that thing is going to make less money? In the case of my videos, I would say that the answer is no. People who want to listen to Fruit are not going to watch my video instead of listening to Fruit. The question of market impact in my case is pretty simple. Is it just as simple in the case of Rogers v. Coons? Ultimately, the court rejected Coons' parody defense and ruled in favor of Art Rogers. It's worth pointing out, though, that in 2006, Coons was successfully able to argue fair use in a separate case brought against him. But let's take what we've learned in Rogers v. Coons and apply it to Charlie v. Marina. Look at these two photos side by side. Is this copyright infringement? Well, when we're basically talking about a combination of lighting choices and the use of plants and fruit as decor, the concept of imagery as artistic property is just too vague for me. You cannot copyright vibes. And even if this is a case of Charlie copying Marina, I don't think it's fair to lay blame with Charlie, because if you've been paying attention, you'll realize that Charlotte Rutherford was the photographer behind both of these campaigns. So even in an alternate timeline where Charlie and Marina went to court over this, it would have been a wash. You can't infringe upon your own copyright. Although I guess I am trying to apply US copyright law to the British, so maybe Charlie should be in jail. In any case, what we seem to have here is one photographer repurposing part of their creative vision for another client. So I think it's fair to chalk this up as a one-off fluke for Charlie. Right? In May 2019, after Charlie released her single Blame It On Your Love featuring Lizzo, a Twitter user posted, "Pop saviors wear tasteful wires on their faces," comparing Charlie's single cover alongside a photo of hyperpop artist Liz Y2K, which appears to have been the base image for her 2018 single Super Duper Nova. Liz retweeted this, adding, "Looks familiar," and clarified that Inez Alpha, a self-described 3D makeup artist, did hers. Charlie responded saying, "Inez and I collaborated on this concept for my project also. Not apologizing for this, Liz. Was not using your work as a reference. You know I love you." When a fan said to Charlie, "I don't know why she's coming for you," Charlie replied with, "Everybody wants a familiar fruit moment or whatever," an obvious reference to the Marina debacle. So I look at this and I'm of two minds. On the one hand, if you go to Inez Alpha's Instagram, this is like her entire shtick. I think it's cool looking, but I also think there's maybe a limit to how unique you can make 3D makeup. On the other hand, the more cynical part of me looks at Charlie and says, "Marina, Liz, I'm not copying you. I'm simply finding the makeup artists and photographers you've worked with and having them do the same thing for me." Either way, I do feel a little bad for Charlie that she's bringing up this familiar fruit thing 3 years after it happened. Clearly it got under her skin. And this was not the final time that Charlie would face allegations of ripping off another artist. That same year, Charlie began promoting a 4-woman band that she had put together called Nasty Cherry. She'd tweet about them on social media, encouraging her own fans to go listen to them, and they even made a Netflix documentary about Nasty Cherry called I'm With the Band, which Charlie appears in. The lead singer of Nasty Cherry, Gabriette, is a friend of Charli XCX XCX and Part-Time Model. When Nasty Cherry began releasing music, some fans pointed out that the music sounded very similar to Sky Ferreira, another alternative pop singer and coincidentally also a part-time model. The lead singer in particular was thought to be extremely similar to Sky in terms of her looks, her vocals, and even Gabriette noticed this.
Yes, I do. And people tell me that I sound like a Walmart's Sky Ferreira, which is totally fine with me.
I think the best example of the Nasty Cherry Sky Ferreira comparisons arise when you listen to Everything is Embarrassing next to What Do You Like in Me? Charlie also brought in Justin Raisin to produce most of Nasty Cherry's songs, and Justin was a writer and producer on every single track from Sky Ferreira's debut album, Nighttime My Time. Shortly before the Netflix documentary about Nasty Cherry was released, Charlie made a post on Instagram promoting it. One of the lines said in the promo reel by Charlie is, "They have to explore, they have to find their sound." Sky took to Twitter writing, "They need to find their sound," inquisitive monocled eye emoji. Implying that she too had taken notice of the similarities. Luckily, I have new music coming out very soon that is very much my sound. Sure, Jan. Is the new music in the room with us right now? Oh, don't worry, Miss Ferreira, we'll get to you. So, I really want to give Charlie the benefit of the doubt here. This could be a series of unfortunate events. I am not the judge. I am just reporting on the facts. But I do think it's funny that in 2024, all of this came full circle in a beautiful moment of cosmic justice when Camila Cabello, former member of girl group Fifth Harmony, posted a snippet teasing her new song, I Love It. For anyone who doesn't know Camila Cabello, this was a hard turn for her music-wise. This is the Havana Unana girl. So with the sudden switch in genre to what we call hyperpop, people online immediately pointed out the similarities to Charli XCX, who herself had been doing hyperpop for years at this point. And Charli commented on the situation herself 2 days after Camila made her post, taking to TikTok with a clip of her shimmying to her 2017 song, I Got It. Camila also posted this little clip here to her Instagram story, which just adds to the hilarity of it for me. Charli, I don't know what else to say except... What a ride. Look, this video isn't intended to stir up any animosity towards Charli. In my opinion, yes, some of these similarities are questionable at best, but art is iterative. There's that old saying, artist theft. Or the longer version, good artists borrow, great artists steal. But it's worth keeping in mind that the word steal in this context does not literally mean steal. Leonardo da Vinci was not looking over Michelangelo's shoulder copying his brushstrokes. So, Charles, if I can depart any wisdom at all, from one man in a bad wig to another, imitation is not always the highest form of flattery. Part 4, Compost. I don't know, you think of a better title. In case you were wondering, I'm no longer sweating, changing shirts was the right choice. Charli has been a good sport about the "that fruit looks familiar" controversy. Last year, she made a post on her TikTok as part of this "which artist wrote you" trend, and when the answer she got was Marina, she seemed pretty amused by it. But in reality, the feud with Marina seems to have weighed pretty heavily on her mind over the years. On 360 Brat, Charli's private account, a fan asked her if she and Marina were still friends. No, but it's not like deep or anything. There's no negativity in my opinion. Our worlds just don't cross. I will say I did feel negatively years later because I just felt like I really looked up to her and almost saw her as a role model in a way. And when she publicly put me on blast via subtweet, I was honestly really hurt and upset and confused, and all the fans were coming for me and everything. And I just thought we were friends, so maybe she could have texted me or something. So I just felt like she knew she was sending people to get me online, and as someone I looked up to, I just thought that was a really mean thing to do at the time. Now I'm just LOL, the whole thing is so funny, as if there was beef over lemons. Looking at it from that point of view gives me a different perspective. And I'll take this moment to definitively say I don't think that Charli was copying Marina. Were there similarities? Sure, but if we try to define plagiarism as this thing looks like that thing, nobody would ever be able to create anything at all. But I still understand why Marina felt the way that she did. Lucky for Charli, one of the wonderful things about human nature is that the passage of time has a way of bringing peace.
People say that time heals all wounds.
We talked about Apple from Brat at the beginning of this video, but the preceding song in the track list, Girl So Confusing, has also had its moment. The song is about Lorde and the difficult to interpret relationship that Charlie felt she had with her. It's about that confusing relationship between women when you're expected to be best friends, but you're also technically competitors or even rivals. And Lorde ended up featuring on a remix of the song with Charlie where she added her own verse. And on the day the remix was released, Marina retweeted Charlie's announcement of it, writing, "This is beautiful. Just cried listening to it. It's so courageous and human to make work about this topic, and it's so healing to listen to it. Congratulations on an iconic album, Charlie." To which Charlie replied, "Aw, Marina, Tumblr girls rise." And finally, Marina wrote, crying, heart, heart, heart. Ugh, these sapphics. This was the first time that the two of them interacted, at least publicly, since that 2016 debacle. I'm sure it was cathartic for both of them. Now, Charlie, when is Marina going to feature on the Apple remix? So our story ends with a heartwarming moment of lost friendship rekindled, as all stories should. And I guess that means I'd better wrap things up. Some of my subscribers may be wondering if I'll cover Marina's 4th and 5th album.
Maybe I'll tell you, depending on if I need to, maybe I won't. Just always keep it in my back pocket if I need to do that.
We'll see what happens. Her 4th album, Love and Fear, is her best work, and y'all aren't ready to have that conversation. With album 6 on the horizon though, who knows? Maybe we'll return to it when she announces a release date so that I can help drum up excitement. Because if there's one thing gay people love doing, it's giving free promotion to their favorite pop stars. With that all said, I'm out of Diet Coke, and it's probably time I get that fruit that I picked back to my cottage. But before I go, I have a special treat for the cherubs that helped me fund this video. Gordon, relax. Gordon, sit back and let the sun light in my lap. I sang a hymn to bring me peace. And then it came, a melody. It felt so sweet.
If all of this sounds familiar to you, then congratulations. You are chronically online.